the person who was doing that investigation for the defense attorney at the time, he described that as bizarre, and he's never encountered that before, where an investigator would not let an independent investigation take place. So you have somebody who I think is, and then the judge cuts him off. He said, but that's been resolved, hasn't it? And Brad Haywood says, well, that part has, and that we can send somebody else back. So think about it. October 2025, merely almost 3 years into the case, now the lawyer is going to send somebody out. The judge is saying, has that been resolved? Well, now we can send somebody out. So in that case, prosecutor, you've delayed this man's investigation of the evidence. So who's delaying this? You want him to go to trial 2 years ago without investigating, without looking at the evidence? So either you go to trial without the evidence, or we're going to keep you in jail for a really, really long time. And every time there's a continuance, because we're blocking the evidence, we're going to say you're delaying the trial. I mean, according to this alone, this October 3rd, 2025 transcript, it shows that the prosecutor, up until now, you have blocked the investigation. You've blocked this defendant from inspecting his own evidence.
Morning, Chief.
Morning. Just grabbing a little H2O before the next briefing. You know, a lot of good conversations start right here at this cooler. Keeps the department running and hydrated. Now,
Chief, we have a problem.
what's going on?
The Mustafa brothers. One of them got into evidence storage, took the Redfield file.
You're sure?
Caught him on the cameras 10 minutes ago.
Damn it.
Detective Forrester's been trying to track him since.
He knew exactly what he wanted. Folder was gone when I came back from the
All
lab.
right, lock down the exits.
We've lost another body cam node. Pull up the feed.
Found him. It's Mustafa, brother. He has the cams.
Lock down the servers. Now!
He's already inside.
Turn. This is for you, Agent Doyle. Full clip. Don't let them bury it.
Garcia, it's Reed. I need a location on Mustafa, brother, now.
Brought him on a ride-share trace, heading south on East Street, plate ending 068.
Sending coordinates now.
Copy that. Keep the feet up.
I'm moving. Garcia, it's Reed. I need a location on Mustafa, brother, now.
The broadcast talk to me.
Rideshare just dropped him downtown. He's heading for a studio called FM Wave. Copy that. Put eyes on the block and lock it down. Whatever you do, don't let him air that file on his podcast. Units are en route.
If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
This is not another Bar on Podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope. So in this segment, we're going over the prosecutor motion to have Judge Weimer deny the bond reconsideration. We're on page 3. Let's pull up the motion. We're on page 3 out of 10. And the questions that we're asking when we're going over this motion: is the prosecutor lying to the presiding judge? Is there evidence that the prosecutor is lying in her motion? Is there evidence that this judge should reconsider granting Mustafa a hearing for the bond reconsideration? And if there is evidence that show that the prosecutor lied, that there is evidence that the judge denied this bond, and there is evidence where the prosecutor lied to this judge, and that's why the bond is denied. If there is evidence that show that that this is a car accident, that Mustafa, the reason that Judge Weimer denied this bond for 2 reasons, that according to the prosecutor, threatened the correctional officer. Well, if there is evidence that show that Mustafa never threatened the correctional officer, CCTV video, jail video, and a witness that's coming forward, and the other reason is there was a lip reader. The lip reader has now been kicked off the case. So what does that mean when the judge is not allowing the hearing to hear out the evidence? Does that mean that the judge is is not being impartial in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Well, let's go through the motion. Let's find out. What is Judge Carol Weimer doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? We're on page 3 in this motion. Prosecutor motion to deny the reconsideration of granting Mustafa a bond. All right. On May 3rd, 2024, following a proffer of evidence and argument of counsel, the circuit court, make that a little bit bigger. There we go. The circuit court, over the Commonwealth objection, granted the defendant motion for bond and set bond in the amount of $5,000 secured by cash or corporate surety with pretrial supervision and additional condition. The Commonwealth advised the court of its intention to appeal the bond decision to the Court of Appeal of Virginia and request a stay of the bond order. Upon motion, the Commonwealth, the circuit court, stayed in possession of his bond order until May 10, 2024 to permit the Commonwealth to explore and pursue appellate remedies. On May 10, 2024, the court granted the Commonwealth's motion to reconsider bail and revoke bond, thereby denying the defendant release. On July 2024, the grand jury returned three. Before we go into that paragraph, now Judge Weimer denied Mustafa bond for 2 reasons.
Well, he initially gave a $5,000 bond.
He initially gave Mustafa. Yes, that's right.
And then the prosecutor said she told the judge she wanted a stay on that order so that she could do one thing, and that was to consider appealing the judge's decision to the appellate court, which is a different jurisdiction. She came back a week later, and the judge simply reversed his order of the $5,000 bond. And I mean, anybody that knows anything about law will tell you that what the judge did was illegal because he granted the bond. If the prosecutor doesn't like that decision, you don't get to rehash the bond hearing. Just because you don't like the results, you can't redo the bond hearing at the same jurisdiction. You have to go to a higher judge. But in this case, Judge Weimer allowed the prosecutor to retry the bond hearing in the same jurisdiction, basically have a redo of her failed attempt the first time. And the second time, she didn't present any new evidence. She didn't present any evidence, really. She just came in and the judge gave her the reversal.
Well, let's watch what NBC4 is telling us about the first bond hearing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case.
Let's see.
New at 5 tonight, a Prince William County judge has changed his mind about giving bond to a man charged.
No, that's the first one. Hang on. There we go.
Only on 4 tonight, newly released dash cam video shows the seconds before a car crashed into oncoming traffic and killed a woman and a young daughter.
Now, the man who has been jailed for more than a year, accused of intentionally causing that crash, may soon bond out of jail. He faces 2 charges of second-degree murder.
Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey was in court today when prosecutors presented evidence, including video from that dash cam. And we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
This is some of the dash cam video the prosecutor.
Wait, is she releasing 5-year-old Empress on the news? I thought she told the judge the reason the case is sealed
is because
she wants to protect because Empress is on dash camera. I mean,
she said Dorothy's last moments were on video, and she wants to seal this case to protect Dorothy and Empress. She wants to protect that footage.
That's literally on a transcript. I mean, we're going to go back to this transcript and read it real quick. And so when we're watching
what the prosecutor is releasing,
I mean,
try to make some sense out of it.
Miss Sammy is telling the judge, the prosecutor is telling the judge, Your Honor, he said, the judge is asking Sarah Sammy, what would be the reason for that? She's asking him to seal off the case. Let's read the one before it. Sarah Sammy says, Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Sieben. If the court could actually seal the exhibit, admit it into evidence, he has no objection into the ex parte conversation and the sealing of the exhibits. The judge is asking the prosecutor, what would be the reason for that? She says, Your Honor, given that this is a very highly contested case, there has been a protective order entered between the Commonwealth and the defense attorney counsel indicating that whatever exhibit are admitted, they will be under seal. And specifically with the dash camera, it depicts Miss Fontaine, Empress Fontaine, the 5-year-old moment before their death.
Okay. Now let's go back to the other video. What did the prosecutor just release on the media?
Only on 4 tonight.
This is some of the dash cam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa Al-Jazeera behind bars. It shows the moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic, killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but prosecutors say the couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing, continuing a fight that began earlier in the day over a former boyfriend. Then, as the car reaches an intersection, it veers left into oncoming traffic. Prosecutors saying Al-Jazeera did it intentionally. Another camera angle showing the victim's face and fear as she braces for impact. Al-Jazeera's expression changing little. Prosecutors telling the judge the video proves if Al-Jazeera's release.
The question is, now that we know Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is not sealing this case because of 5-year-old Empress. Clearly, she's releasing 5-year-old Empress on dash camera. Are they hiding and sealing the case because their police mechanic inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure? Let's watch the body cam that they're hiding and sealing in the Mustafa Al-Jazeera case.
Right rear tire, brake, didn't engage.
So the police mechanic inspect Mustafa's vehicle and they find brake failure. Mustafa's foot, the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle, showed that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time. Why are they not telling us on NBC4 that Mustafa had brake failure?
Interesting.
Oh, that's right. The prosecutor is sealing off the case, is hiding behind 5-year-old Empress, but turned around and released a dash camera. Let's watch what Julie Carey, let's watch NBC4 one more time. Now that we know there's brake failure, now that we know Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. Let's watch NBC4.
This is some of the dash cam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa Al-Jazeera behind bars. It shows the moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic, killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but...
No audio. But then digital forensic is now telling us that they have audio, and they're in possession of the audio. But the prosecutor sealed off that information.
Prosecutors say the couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing.
Facial expression, but Julie Carey is going to remove the cigarette inside the vehicle. Moments before, if you literally rewind this dash camera, you're going to see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a cigarette. Is that why the dash camera is sealed? That's a really good question. I mean, when you find out that if you rewind the dash camera that's been released on NBC4, 20 seconds, and you find out that Dorothy and Mustafa are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. We just read the toxicology report. It shows no alcohol, no drugs. THC 0.0003. So clearly, what they're passing back and forth here is hemp.
Is a cigarette.
Now, Julie Carey on NBC4 is telling us they're arguing inside the vehicle based on their facial expression, but she's going to cut the part where the moment where they're passing back and forth a cigarette, moments before the vehicle accident. Literally, from what you're watching on NBC4, if you rewind it 20 seconds, you're going to see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. And the way Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers, she literally feels Mustafa's fingers when she's taking the hemp cigarette from him. You want to tell me they're arguing inside the vehicle? Now that we've seen the portion that the prosecutor is hiding from you. Let's watch NBC4 one more time.
Only on 4 tonight. Only on 4 tonight, newly released dashcam video shows the Only on 4 tonight, newly released dashcam video shows the seconds before a car crashed into oncoming traffic and killed a woman and her young daughter.
Now the man
Only on 4
This is some of the dashcam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa
they've removed,
Al-Jazari
if you
behind
earlier
bars.
rewind it, 20 seconds, they've cut the part where they're passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. And they want to tell you they're arguing inside of, are you not taking this dash camera out of context? I mean, when you really ask the question, why is this case sealed? It's sealed because they're chopping up the dash camera.
Yeah.
Moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic, killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but prosecutors say the couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing, continuing a fight that began earlier in the day over a former boyfriend.
A former boyfriend that's on body cam, that's sealed by the county, that tells you Mustafa doesn't even know me.
Then, as the car reaches an intersection, it veers left into oncoming traffic. Prosecutors saying Al-Jazari did it intentionally.
He did it intentionally, but the investigator on scene says that Mustafa made it all the way to the 4th lane to clear all the vehicles.
Another camera angle showing the victim's face and fear as she braces for impact. Al-Jazari's expression changing little. Prosecutors telling
Al-Jazari's facial reaction changes slower. When the officer cut this dash camera before impact and took 17 frames from inside the vehicle.
I find it interesting that Julie Carey doesn't update that report when Chad Mason took the stand and said, I violated department policy.
I mean,
when Kathy Zymas takes the stand and says, yes, there's an audio track to this dash camera, that the audio capability was turned on. I find it odd that Julie Carey doesn't update, and she only puts out the prosecutor's narrative. Okay, if you look at Julie Carey's reporting, I mean, even the interview I did with her, it was like 11 minutes, and she only took one sentence out of an 11-minute conversation, and she only presents what the prosecutors say. I mean, prosecutors say, investigators say this, investigators say that, without verifying anything. And then when you present her with the evidence, she tells you the case is sealed. I can't report on it because the case is sealed. What do you? I mean, look, it's funny that all these transcripts from court are coming out, and you tell Julie Carey. I mean, the transcript to Chad Mason violating department policy, it's there. To Kathy Zymas saying there is audio. When you specifically reported that there's no audio, now Kathy Zymas comes out with digital forensics of Prince William County, and she says there is audio, that there's more footage than what the police have presented. I find it weird that the media doesn't ask questions. And is it not odd that no other channel is reporting on this other than their favorite puppy, Julie Carey? Isn't that's like,
I find
that's the county's go-to person?
I find it interesting that the prosecutor is attacking me in her motions that I'm talking about this case, but it's not attacking Julie Carey. That's all over the news talking about this case.
Julie Carey put out the video.
I mean, Julie Carey told us that there's a lip reader. The prosecutor has a lip reader. Why hasn't she updated the community now that the lip reader has been kicked off the case?
And you have the judge's order removing the lip reader. So Julie Carey can easily go to court, just like we did, go to court. And without a FOIA, by the way, you just go to the clerk and say, I would like the judge's order for the lip reader on Mustafa's case. Give him the case. I mean, she knows what to do. You don't need us to explain to you how to get a court document. Julie Carey's, she's been around long enough. But when it's something that is obviously favorable to Mustafa, she's not going to report on it. She's only going to report on the initial allegations based on investigators saying that he was on drugs, he was this, he intentionally did it. You don't want to report on anything after that. And I think it's fair to say that the media has been the fake news, and they're defending the narrative of the prosecutor side.
Absolutely.
They're not there to present the truth. They're presenting parts of this case that basically showed this case in a completely different light. But when you really look into the evidence of this case, I mean, prepare to be shocked.
I mean, I think shocked is an understatement. I mean, the fact that Julie Carey is no longer updating the community on what's coming out of this case tells you a lot. I mean, since the file has been leaked, body cams and document, I mean, Julie Carey can no longer lie for the prosecution.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why she's not reporting on it, because she knows that the next clip she's going to put out for the prosecutor is not going to play well with the public, because
Absolutely.
The public can verify themselves.
Have seen too much. The public have seen.
The public knows too much. So what do? They'll say, you know what? Let's just leave the last report from May of 2024. And maybe if we don't touch this case, maybe people will just forget about it. That's the plan, is that let's not talk about it. Maybe people will just forget. If we close our eyes, maybe people can't see us.
That's crazy.
But you know, that idea is it's childish.
But the defense attorney had a much different take on it, saying even if the couple was having a disagreement, that's not proof the crash was intentional or that Al Jazeera is dangerous.
They have a piece of video from one instance where it appears my client was trying to pass a vehicle and then in a moment of panic made a bad decision, an incorrect decision, because he was flustered and panicked. That is not a reason to hold somebody in jail, finding that they're a general and unreasonable danger to the community.
Prosecutors also played a police investigator's interview with Al Jazeera made 2 days after the crash. Here's part of what he said when asked about what the dashcam video shows.
It just shows you turning into the left-hand lane, no skid marks, no braking, and then just
No skid marks, no braking.
driving into oncoming traffic. I'm trying to figure out why.
I don't know. Why would I do that?
But the judge ruling
No skid marks and no braking. We're going to pull up Mustafa's EDR one more time, where it shows that Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. And from the body cam, you can clearly see Mustafa's brake marks.
You can clearly see it. I mean,
prosecutors
it's
failed
obvious.
to prove Al Jazeera would be dangerous if released. He granted a $5,000 bond. The decision, a small victory for Al Jazeera's family, who spent 2 weeks keeping vigil outside the courthouse, complaining he's not been treated fairly.
If my brother had a drop of guilt, we would not be here for him. We believe my brother is innocent. We believe that this was a horrible accident. We believe that. And I believe the evidence is going to show the truth.
But Al Jazeera won't be walking out of this jail today. That's because the judge put a stay or a hold on his order. So
because the judge is
prosecutors
compromised.
explore the idea of an appeal. Everyone will be back in court again next Friday.
Okay,
In
so
Prince William
Because the
County,
judge
Julie.
is compromised. That's really why.
So Mustafa is granted
For
a bond?
For anybody, by the way, for anybody that was there on the following hearing, the prosecutor, Sarah Sammy, stood there in court, looked the judge in the face, and told him, Your Honor, the Commonwealth attorney is not going to be happy with you. That's all she had to say to him. And this judge was like, he folded like a freaking notebook. He
That's
just
crazy.
folded. And instead of following the law and telling the prosecutor, that's my decision. If you don't like it, appeal it. Instead of doing that and having a backbone, he just folded and he reversed his bond order.
So 7 days later, Julie Carey is airing out this segment where she tells you the prosecutor came in and she's claiming that Mustafa threatened the correctional officer, and with no evidence, by the way, with no evidence.
Look, unless this so-called threat happened in that 7 days, why did you not present it in the first bond hearing? Why did you not present it on May 3rd? Why did you wait until the judge granted bond? And then within the 7 days, you presented this evidence as if it just happened.
What do you mean? She's talking about a situation where they went in and beat the fuck out of Mustafa.
That happened 2 months prior to his bond.
There's a CCTV video that shows officers. You're talking about a witness that says officer went in and beat him. They're saying that Mustafa threatened a correctional officer when the CCTV video showed that Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer.
Okay, so number one, it was a lie.
Absolutely.
The situation was a lie. And number two, the situation that she's alleging did not happen from the time the judge granted the stay until the following hearing. It did not happen in that time frame. So if that was the case, if the prosecutor is alleging this is what happened, he threatened the court, why did you not present it in the original bond hearing? Why did you wait until the judge granted bond?
I think they're at a point that they're desperate. They were desperate, and now that the case has leaked, they're regretting that they've used that incident because what they see in the file is correctional officer actually went in and beat Mustafa. And now they have to release the CCTV video. They have to talk about the incident because essentially you're saying this is the reason why Mustafa is being denied a bond.
Yep. And I think you're right. They regret using that specific reason that he threatened a correctional officer, that they put in his file video CCTV from the jail related to that date. They regret it because the videos, the hearings, the testimony from witnesses is the complete opposite of what the prosecutor proffered in court
and we're
without evidence.
And we're going to go into details. Exactly. The prosecutor proffered, which is tell the judge Mustafa threatened the correctional officer with no evidence. And now the evidence that are coming out shows that one, you lied.
It's the opposite.
It's absolutely the opposite.
They abused him. They threatened him. They assaulted him. Okay. And the video, the witness testimony demonstrate that. And now prosecutors are basically scrambling. They're scrambling because you have this evidence and they relied on that proffer to deny him bond.
I mean, Julie Carey on NBC4 is telling this community that Mustafa, according to the prosecutor, threatened a correctional officer and the judge denied him a bond. Wouldn't you think when the file leaks, she's going to update the story? Instead, nothing.
Nothing.
Julie Carey is nowhere to be found. Let's watch what Julie Carey told this community 7 days after Mustafa was granted essentially bond. And why Mustafa is being denied bond.
New at 5 tonight, a Prince William County judge has changed his mind about giving bond to a man charged with murder for a crash that killed his girlfriend and her little girl.
Prosecutors came to court armed with new details about the crime to persuade the judge to revoke the bond he set just last week. Only on 4, Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey reports prosecutors even hired a lip reader to figure out what the alleged victim was saying on silent dash cam video just before the fatal crash. We warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
No.
The look the dash cam video captures on Dorothy Fontaine's face is clearly one of fear.
What do you want her to celebrate the moment before she gets in a car accident?
I mean,
clearly, she's about to get in a car accident.
Seconds just before the crash, her 5-year-old daughter, Empress, seated just behind her. The prosecutor telling the judge today a lip reader has analyzed the silent video and determined Fontaine is saying, no, Empress is in the car, as the vehicle veers left and into oncoming traffic.
So, police inspect Mustafa's vehicle. They find brake failure. Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The computer inside Mustafa's vehicle showed that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The investigator on scene says that Mustafa cleared every vehicle, made it to the 4th lane.
Well, my question to Julie Carey...
And the lip reader that they're talking about has now been kicked off the case.
My question to Julie Carey is, this is your reporting. You said that the prosecutor got a lip reader that says, no, Empress is in the car. Well, a month ago, this same lip reader was kicked off the case by Judge Weimer. He said that lip readers are, number one, not reliable. This specific lip reader is not reliable. That's not his job. He doesn't read lips. Okay? And it's never been done in the U.S. history of criminal justice. There's never been a lip reader ever used in a criminal case. And the judge told the prosecutor, I'm not going to create law for you. Therefore, this lip reader is kicked off the case. Okay? And you have the judge order. The real question is, why isn't Julie Carey reporting that the lip reader that she reported on is no longer part of the case? Why is she not updating? Oh, we know why she's not updating. It's because it doesn't fall in line with the prosecutor's narrative. It doesn't help the prosecutor's narrative, so she's not going to report on it. If we close our eyes, maybe, just maybe, nobody will see us. That's the idea. That's the plan for Julie Carey and what is it, NBC4?
Is this the motion to that the lip reader got kicked off?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
On transliteration. That's what they call it. Transliteration.
Okay. So this is a document from Mustafa's file. This document is now public if you go to Prince William County here in Virginia in Circuit Court.
This is a judge order.
This is a judge order, case number CR 2300216700.
January 9th.
January 9th. The lip reader has been officially kicked off the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. So the prosecutor can't hide behind, I have a lip reader, and that lip reader is being kicked off the case. So where is Julie Carey?
And lip readers in general are not allowed in criminal cases. They're not reliable sources. That's according to Judge Weimer.
So where is Julie Carey from updating this community that the lip reader that she put all over NBC4 has been kicked off the case? Julie Carey is nowhere to be found. Now, let's go back to NBC4 and watch that one more time, knowing that the lip reader has been kicked off the case.
Is clearly one of fear in the seconds just before the crash. Her 5-year-old daughter, Empress, seated just behind her. The prosecutor telling the judge today a lip reader has analyzed the silent video and determined Fontaine is saying, no, Empress is in the car, as the vehicle veers left and into oncoming traffic. That was just one piece of evidence the prosecution presented to try to convince the judge that Mustafa Al-Jazari is too dangerous to be given bond, arguing, quote, this is no different than a situation where you have someone shooting and killing 2 people. He used his vehicle as a weapon on April 5th, 2023 that resulted in the murder of 2 individuals. Al-Jazari's defense attorney contends his client was trying to pass a car, ran out of room at the intersection, and panicked. He rejects the suggestion the video or the crash victim's words show Al-Jazari would be dangerous if freed on bond.
It states nothing about whether or not the deceased thought my client was doing it intentionally. It states that as she sees oncoming danger, her first thought is, oh no, my daughter is in the car.
Prosecutors also called the crash scene investigator to testify to support their theory that the crash was intentional. Sergeant Chad Mason says there were no skid marks at the scene.
No skid marks, right? We're going to go over the skid marks.
Chad Mason, by the way.
Chad Mason, the same investigator that cut and mute Mustafa's dash camera, is telling you there are no skid marks in Mustafa.
Interesting. The same officer that says, I violated department policy.
Interesting.
And when the lawyer asks him, so you've always violated department policy? He says, is that a question? I mean, come on now.
Interesting.
That the crash was intentional. Sergeant Chad Mason says there were no skid marks at the scene, only light braking.
I mean, it's funny that they say, like, there's no skid marks as they pan into a road full of skid marks. Like, that's crazy. There's no skid marks on the scene, and then they pan over to a whole entire scene full of skid marks.
Look, when you go through the body cams and you find out they're saying there is no skid marks, and you find Mustafa travel path through the dash camera, you see Mustafa's skid mark.
It's very clear.
When the police inspected Mustafa's vehicle, they found the front passenger brake doesn't work, the back caliper brake doesn't work. So the only brakes that worked in Mustafa's vehicle
Was
is
on
the
the
front
driver's
was
side.
on the driver, and you see one distinct, clear skid mark from
On the driver's
Mustafa's.
side.
Exactly. Okay, and you can see it on the body cams, and you can see it on the dash camera.
You can see it on the dash camera. You can see it in Robert Drum's Nikon camera. Those high quality photos taken on the scene.
As a matter of fact, what if I tell you I have body cams where Robert Drum captures Chad Mason directly looking at Mustafa's skid marks and then walking away, and then moments later they turn around, they say there are no skid marks. That's on body cam.
I mean, on body cam, he says all those are his skid marks. Isn't that what he says on body cam?
Let me pull it up for you.
So I'm surprised that Julie Carey is saying Chad Mason testified that there's no skid marks, when in fact you have body cam that Robert Drum says all of those are his skid marks.
This is the body cams that you're talking about.
Did you have skid from him?
Yeah, so that's all him. He spun twice.
Did you have skid from him?
Yeah, so that's all him. He spun twice.
Let's go back to NBC4.
That's all him. He spun twice.
I mean, NBC4, Chad Mason is telling us there are no skid marks when the investigator on the scene says all these are Mustafa's skid marks.
Prosecutors also called the crash scene investigator to testify to support their theory that the crash was intentional. Sergeant Chad Mason says there were no skid marks at the scene, only light braking, and that the heavy damage was all on the passenger side.
It's very interesting.
Wait. He said no brake. Mustafa wasn't hitting the brake. This was Mustafa's EDR.
I mean, that's the thing that's very interesting, is that
Mustafa's EDR, his foot is on the brake the whole entire time.
And they say no braking.
What do you mean? His foot is on the brake the whole entire time, trying to stop the vehicle.
Look, I'm beginning to notice what's it called? A trend. I'm beginning to notice a trend here. That the prosecutor and the police will say one thing in court, and then you pull up a body cam that contradicts it. And it's not one, it's not two, it's not three, it's not four, it's not even 10, it's not even 20. It's the entire case. Every single thing that the prosecutor proffered in court is the complete opposite on a body cam. Everything that the investigator said, it's the exact opposite on the report. You know, and then you wonder, you really dig in and you wonder, why was this case sealed? It's clearly not about protecting Dorothy and Empress's last moment before they died, according to Prosecutor Sammy. It's not about that, because she released that video. She actually released that specific, because the dash cam is 30 minutes. From the moment they got into the car from the apartment to the accident, it's about 30 minutes. The prosecutor released the last seconds that show Dorothy and Empress before they died. So clearly she's not sealing this case because she's trying to protect Dorothy and Empress the moment before they died. She's clearly protecting the officers and the officials that are framing Mustafa, that are lying to the court, that are lying to the grand jury. Okay? I mean, you're talking about somebody who's going up against the government. If you want to tell me that the only way to get justice in Prince William County is for your brother to steal the case file from the government, I mean, I'm going to tell you, like, good fucking luck. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay? They sealed this case for a specific reason. And it's very evident that Chad Mason will say something and you just contradicted it with a body cam. Robert Drum will swear an oath to a warrant to a magistrate judge. He'll go and put handcuffs on Mustafa. And when you pull up the report, you find out he lied. If it wasn't for us recording the phone call between Mustafa and Drum...
Oh, good luck. Good luck. If you hadn't recorded that phone call, your word against a police officer that's been with the department for 19 years.
Look,
that's telling you your brother, Mustafa, told me he was arguing inside the vehicle.
I mean,
good luck.
Imagine
if it wasn't for
this.
Your recording, there is nothing that you could have done.
Look, imagine this. We have the recording from Mustafa and Drum's phone call, And the police department still conceals Robert Drum's body cam. Even till this day, the lawyer does not have Robert Drum's body cam when he spoke to Mustafa. Okay? And the real question is why? Why are they sealing that body cam? I mean, we know from the body cam with Amy Hodson that he was on the phone with a third individual on three-way. He was muting Amy Hodson and he was talking to somebody about this investigation, about conducting this interview. Okay? So we know for a fact that Robert Drum was not taking this case seriously. We know that Chief Newsham does not believe that this is a serious investigation. The fact that you have all these officers pumping money into the case, destroying evidence, tampering with evidence, falsifying witness testimony, just flat out lying about what witnesses are saying. It shows you that this is not a serious investigation. This is an all-out attempt to get one man. And that's because he was suing the police.
This is what Prosecutor Sarah Sammy tells the court on August 7, 2023, where Mustafa's bond hearing was ultimately denied because the prosecutor is using officers that falsified this case. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is using investigator Robert Drum, and she's telling the court, Your Honor, I have a report written by investigator Drum where the defendant specifically indicate that there was an argument in the vehicle. And when the defendant was trying to leave, Dorothy apologized and he forgave her. Listen to what she's telling the court. The investigator, the argument in the vehicle indicate, Robert Drum, where the defendant specifically indicates there was an argument in the vehicle. I mean, if you didn't have a recording where Mustafa never said that, good luck proving that Mustafa never said that. I mean, you have a recording and there's still, I mean, at the time, you have a recording and the defense attorney is telling the court, I have a recording. And she still goes on and says.
And she still lies.
And she says, yeah, Mustafa told the investigator he was arguing.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is an all-out attempt to go with this narrative no matter what the evidence shows. No matter what the evidence shows, she's going to go out there and she's going to lie. And the judge, this specific judge, who's not impartial, is going to allow her to do it. I mean, you think a prosecutor can just go to court and not have the fear of being held in contempt? Of course not. Unless you have been given the green light. And Sarah Sammy has been given the green light to lie.
Look, when the evidence come out and show that they've lied, they'll come up with another lie. Mm-hmm. Well, now it's that he threatened a correctional officer inside the jail.
The information that seemed to influence the judge the most, though, prosecutor said that Mustafa Al-Jaziri had threatened a jail deputy, saying he knew her address and would come find her if released. The judge revoking the $5,000 bond he'd set a week ago. Al-Jaziri's family, who's been keeping vigil outside the jail, disappointed with the judge's ruling and questioning the allegations of a jail threat.
It doesn't make sense that Mustafa would make a threat. He's going to say, I'm going to be found innocent only to come out and commit another crime. That just doesn't make any sense.
Like, does that make any sense?
It's I'm telling you, it's comical at this point. Like, the lies are getting to a point where, like, they're going to start telling you that pigs fly. Okay? She's saying, the prosecutor is saying, Mustafa told an officer, I'm going to beat my charge so that I can commit another crime. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely makes no sense.
I'm gonna be vindicated of the allegations I'm being charged with so that I can come out and commit another crime.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, listen to what they're doing here. They're comfortable because the case is sealed. You don't have access, and they're basically telling the judge with no evidence. I mean, prosecutor Sarah Sammy is using something that's called proffer. Proffer, you don't have to show evidence. You can just tell the judge, Your Honor, Mustafa threatened a correctional officer. And it's getting to a point now that the file is leaked. They're regretting
no longer proffer.
They're regretting that they used this incident because the CCTV video
demonstrates she lied.
I have the CCTV video, jail video, and I have the witness recording that Mustafa never threatened.
You not only have the witness recording, you have those officers' actions on video that show they were never threatened. Okay, I mean, if you threaten me, you're not going to see a video of me giving you items. Okay? Me saying hello to you. You're not going to see it. Okay? Unless it's fabricated. I mean, by the way, I'll just say this. If it's this easy for a prosecutor to just make a lie on the fly and hold somebody in jail, I mean, God help
Prince William County.
God help the community of Prince William County. If all it takes from a prosecutor is a prosecutor coming into court and saying, Your Honor, he threatened the correctional officer. I don't have to present evidence, but I'm going to proffer this guy is a danger to society because he threatened the correctional officer. Without proof, I mean, God fucking help this community.
Look at the pushback the defense is getting from the defense attorney is getting from the presiding judge. He doesn't want to give the defense a hearing to listen to the evidence.
Doesn't want to give a hearing.
I mean, obviously, this judge is impartial and is protecting a prosecutor.
He's not
impartial and is protecting a prosecutor that is now caught in the lie.
She's a liar.
I mean, flat out lie. We're going to go into this jail CCTV video. We're going to go into what the witness that's coming out of the jail is saying about that incident. And it's going to show that the prosecutor flat out lied. And what does that say about Judge Weimer, who's not giving a hearing to the evidence? It shows that he's impartial.
Not impartial.
Mm-hmm. So let's continue reading the prosecutor motion, where the prosecutor motion to deny the bond reconsideration. We're on page 3. Okay, let's pull that up. So on May 10, 2024, the court granted the Commonwealth motion to reconsider bail and revoke bond, thereby denying the defendant release. We saw what Julie Carey said on NBC4. On July 1st, 2024, the grand jury returned 3 additional direct indictment charging the defendant with 2 counts of first-degree murder in violation of 18.2-32 of the Code of Virginia. CR 24001769-00, CR 24001770-00, and 1 count of aggravated malicious wounding.
By the way, based on what?
Based on the same officer that falsified this case. Now they're taking him to the grand jury and having him
lie again. I mean, like, what was the change that you decided ultimately? This is not second degree, this is first degree. What exactly changed? What new information did you get that you'd said, oh shit, this is first degree? He premeditated this. What information did you get? And the answer is nothing. It's simply in retaliation.
When you open the body cam, you see fake witnesses that are telling you we didn't see anything. So if you're talking about those witnesses that you're building a case on, those witnesses on body cam that you're hiding, that now are leaked, are telling you we didn't see anything.
I mean, they're on video saying we didn't see
you're
anything.
basically using individuals that you never vet, that you allowed to lie in the Mustafa al-Jazari case. As a police department, as a prosecutor office, you're allowing individuals that are coming in to lie about Mustafa, specifically when they're telling you we didn't see anything. And they make this giant story. I mean, listen to what's going on, what's happening in this case. They make this giant story about Mustafa, and they're so, what's the word I'm looking for? Incompetent, that they're telling you on body cam we didn't see anything. And the prosecutor office says, oh shit, these people are so incompetent, they're saying it on body cam. Let me seal this body cam and just tell the judge, tell the court that I have witnesses. And now that the case is, the body cams are leaked, they're like, oh shit, we have a giant problem.
Mm-hmm.
We built a case on fake witnesses, officers that lied and falsified this case.
And not only that, but in a Brady motion with Brad Haywood, the judge specifically told the prosecutor, you're obligated to investigate any alleged witness that comes into this case. You have access to the NCIC, which is a criminal history report of any witness that comes in to validate whether they're telling the truth. You are obligated to do that. So I think Sarah Sammy is in for a big surprise.
Oh, she is absolutely in trouble. And I promise you, by the time
And
she's going to jail.
And I
promise you, she's going to jail.
And I think she's in denial.
I mean, when you're reading her motion, you can absolutely tell that she's
100% in denial.
In denial. I mean, when the body cam showed that she blocked the inspection of the vehicle, and she tells the judge, "Your Honor, we allowed the inspection." I mean, what's going to happen here? You're already seeing this case take a whole entire phase. And the new phase is you're going over Judge Weimer, who's not being impartial. No longer do you have a judge that's protecting you. There is an appeal, and it's going to go over Judge Weimer. And the problem is you have a file that's leaked all over the internet.
So you can't proffer and lie.
You can't proffer anymore. You can't lie about this case. And what do? You're in denial.
She's in denial.
All right, let's continue. All right, we're on page 3. All right. On July 2nd, 2024, the Commonwealth moved to null prosecute the previously pending 2 counts of second-degree murder, which motion was granted on July 4th, 2024. The defendant filed a motion for bond on July indictments and motion to reconsider the bond on the other pending charges. Following a hearing on July 19, 2024, the court denied the motion for bond on the July indictment and motion to reconsider bond on the other pending charges. The Honorable Judge Weimer again ruled the defendant poses a danger to himself and to the community, and the motion to reconsider bail was denied. At the time, they thought I didn't have the file. As the case, unfortunately for them, I have the file, and it shows the evidence in this case. Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer, and this prosecutor flat out lied. As the case has been pending in circuit court, the matter has been continued multiple times over the Commonwealth objection. The 3 jury trial have been scheduled and continued. Additionally, 7 previously appointed attorneys in the circuit court have withdrawn due to the conflict arising with the defendant on February 10, 2026. The defendant filed his 4th motion for circumstance, which is set to be heard on February 13, 2026. All right. This paragraph is really interesting. On page 4, we're coming up on a commercial break. So when we come back, we're going to address this this paragraph where the prosecutor is telling the court that Mustafa is the reason that this case is being delayed, that Mustafa's attorneys are withdrawing out of the case, that Mustafa is into his 3rd jury trial that's set and now is being pushed again. When you find out that the evidence in this case is actually, it's the prosecutor's fault for the attorneys leaving the case, that the trial is being pushed every time it's getting scheduled, you're going to find that it's the prosecutor Sarah Sammy, and prosecutor Stephanie Buck is the individuals that are delaying and stopping this trial from moving forward. So what we're going to do, we're going to show the evidence where the prosecutor is blocking this case from moving forward. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cams. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope.
Anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed. Okay. If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope. So in this segment, we're going over the prosecutor motion to deny the judge to reconsider bond. So we're on page 4, I believe page 4. We're on page 4.
And she was saying that the case is being delayed because of the defendant, when in fact it's her that's delaying the case because, number one, we saw on video that she's blocking the experts from examining the car, therefore defying a judge's order.
Absolutely. I mean, essentially, how could this case move forward when the judge gives out an order and the prosecutor is blocking the order, which is essentially inspecting Mustafa's vehicle?
And then the other thing is she's going after she went after Elaine Jarvis, one of his defense attorneys, and prosecuted that lawyer and barred her from practicing law in Prince William County for a whole year.
I find it disturbing that you want to sit here in a motion and blame Mustafa for his attorney leaving the case when you maliciously prosecuted his attorney. You took her license and you took her off the case.
And according to Blake, it's the prosecutor who's muddying up the case because, number one, she's withholding Brady material. According to Brad Hayward, I mean, he filed a whole giant motion where the prosecutor is withholding information. Okay? And it's not, think about it. Brad Hayward is like, what, the 8th lawyer to get on this case? And it's not until Brad Hayward that the Andrew Margiotta body cam came out after we pushed really hard for it. And we identified that there's a whole entire statement by Andrew Margiotta where he says, I recorded on my body cam. And when we were on evidence.com, we didn't see the Andrew Margiotta body cam. And also Brad Hayward didn't see it. So we pointed that out to him and he had to go and request over and over again through the prosecutor's office that you have not released this body cam. And I know it exists because there's an affidavit to it. There's an affidavit by Andrew Margiotta that there's this body cam. And she also never released the drum recording with Mustafa. That still, till this day, has not been released. There are missing body cams, missing reports from Romero, missing body cams from Chad Mason. And yet the prosecutor, as always, lies to the judge and says, there's a whole transcript where she says, Your Honor, I've released everything. And the judge says, did you specifically ask the police department if they have given everything over to you? She says, and she kept saying yes, that she did. And then all of a sudden she says, well, I haven't really specifically asked the police department to do that, but I can send an email. You just told the judge that you have released everything, that you have done your due diligence, and then later all of a sudden say, oh no, I haven't done that.
So how could this case go to trial if the prosecutor is not doing the most basic thing that she's supposed to have already done? We're almost 4 years into this case.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor hasn't done the most basic thing that she's supposed to do, which is vet the witnesses, make sure that there isn't exculpatory evidence that's being withheld from the defense. The prosecutor hasn't done that, and she's telling the judge on the record, on a transcript, that she hasn't done it. And then she wants to sit here and tell the court that Mustafa is the reason that the case is being delayed?
The biggest Brady material is the home videos. And why haven't they released that to any defense attorney? The home videos are in the phone data dump. They're on the cloud. We gained access to the cloud. So if we, how do you say it? If we, the most basic of people, can get into Mustafa's iCloud, you want to tell me you, the police department, with all your might and resources, couldn't get into the cloud?
When they
or
say,
are you withholding information?
When they say this prosecutor is incompetent, by the way, she is definitely incompetent. In one of her motions to sequester the jury, she referenced the home videos in Mustafa's apartment, the Google Nest videos. Now, for almost going over 3 years, you're pretending that the Google Nest videos don't exist. You're litigating a case as if the home videos don't exist, and then you're so incompetent that you acknowledge the Google Nest videos in your motion. She said the family is releasing the Google Nest videos. Well, where are you from the Google Nest videos?
And why have you not released that to any of the 9 defense attorneys? Why have you not released it?
Exculpatory evidence.
You're withholding information.
Exactly.
And by the way, the information in the Google Nest directly contradict what the kids' testimony is, the minors, that went to the CAC, it directly contradicts what those kids were coached on by the police.
I mean, what's coming out of the forensic interview, the police weaponized those children before they walked them into a forensic interview. And if you were to look at the Google Nest videos, you're going to see that it's a beautiful relationship until, I mean, why is the prosecutor avoiding the Google Nest videos for almost over 3 years? Because if you look at the Google Nest, you're going to see it's a beautiful relationship with Mustafa.
And this whole case falls apart.
And what happened in the forensic? Oh, the police made contact with the children, a 9, a 10, a 14, and it's coming out in the forensic interview that the children are telling you that the police weaponized them, told them this, told them that.
The police abused those kids. Flat out.
We're going to go over those forensic interviews because the prosecutor uses those forensic interviews, but they're sealed. You're not supposed to know what's in the forensic interview. Well, unfortunately for Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, we have the forensic interviews, and the children are talking about your police department, your police officers weaponizing them. All right, so let's continue reading the motion. We're on page 4.
So again, we go back to the case being delayed. It's not because of the defendant who sits in solitary confinement. It's because of an incompetent prosecutor who actively chooses to falsify and protect officers that lie.
The motion reads, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, Prosecutor Stephanie Buck. Motion will read, as the case has been pending in circuit court, the matter has been continued multiple times over the Commonwealth objection. 3 jury trials have been scheduled and continued. Additionally, 7 previously appointed attorneys in the circuit court have withdrawn due to the conflict arising with the defendant. On February 10, 2026, the defendant filed his 4th motion to continuance, which is set to be heard on February 13. We're going to address this paragraph in Section C. Delay caused by the defendant does not justify reconsideration. How about this? Let's skip Section B, and we'll come back to Section A and B. Actually, we're going to read Section A, but I'm going to skip Section B because we're going to jump directly into Section C, and then we'll circle back to Section B. Oh, is that okay? Yeah. All right. All right, so the argument on page 4, the court should deny the defendant's second motion to reconsider bail because there has been no change in circumstances. All right, so the prosecutor is telling you no change in circumstances when absolutely that doesn't make any sense because there is change in circumstances.
There's a major change in circumstance.
We just read the document that the liberator has been kicked off the case.
And you just identified that Drum falsified a warrant.
And Drum falsified a warrant. Every piece of evidence showed this is a car accident. Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. And 4,
I mean, Google Nest video directly refutes every single thing that those children were coached on by the police. Every single thing that's negative said about Mustafa.
Now keep in mind, we're not litigating the case. Well, we're talking about a bond hearing.
We're talking about whether he's a danger to the community and whether he's a flight risk.
And is there a change in circumstances? So the change in circumstances, the reason that Mustafa is denied bond is because 1, there is a liberator. That liberator has been kicked off the case. So there is a change of circumstance. And 2, is there evidence that Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer? And
of course.
Of course. And we're going to get into it. There's a jail CCTV video. There's a witness. And we're going to get into the evidence that show Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer. So is there a change of circumstance? Absolutely. I mean, this prosecutor is in denial. All right, so let's continue. Section A, governing law. Section 19.2-124 of the Code of Virginia provide in relevant part the bail decision of the higher court on such appeal unless the higher court orders otherwise shall be remanded to the court in which the case is pending for enforcement and modification. The court in which the case is pending shall not modify the bail decision of the higher court except upon a change in the circumstances subsequent to the decision of the higher court. Thus, absent material change in circumstance occurring after the court prior bail determination reconsideration is improper. In Commonwealth versus Davis, the Court of Appeals held that a trial court entered by granting undue weight to pretrial delay caused exclusively by the defendant. Listen to what she says right here. She's quoting the case Commonwealth versus Davis, where if the delay is caused by the defendant is not granted bond just because the trial is taking too long to get to the trial. But if it's caused by the prosecution, that's a whole different. You can't keep someone in jail waiting for his trial. I mean, in this case, Mustafa is going on his 4th year waiting to have his trial.
I mean, okay, for a second, let's examine what happened with Brad Haywood. Okay, just the Brad Haywood issue alone. Because Brad Haywood, remember, he took a whole entire year of Mustafa being incarcerated. Now, when you look at the transcript, Mustafa repeatedly on the record told Judge Weimer, I do not want this lawyer to withdraw. I want to continue and go to trial. I waited an entire year for this lawyer. If he was going to withdraw, he should have withdrawn the first 2 months. But he didn't. And Mustafa told the court repeatedly, I do not want to extend my trial. I never waived my right to a speedy trial. Why am I still sitting? Why are you going to grant this lawyer the withdrawal? I don't want him to withdraw. I want to work with him. And what did the judge say? The judge, specifically Judge Weimer, responded for Brad Haywood on the record. He gave Brad Haywood the reason to withdraw. He said, he answered for him. I mean, you can read the transcript yourself. He answered for Brad Haywood. And then Mustafa put on the record. He put on the record an email sent by Brad Haywood that shows that Brad Haywood was in fact the one disseminating information from the case, not Mustafa. Mustafa sits in solitary confinement. He doesn't have access to a computer. He doesn't have access to a printer. Okay? But Mustafa put on the record an email that was sent by Brad Haywood disseminating information in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case that was allegedly under a protective order. And what did Carol Weimer do? Judge Weimer? He allowed Brad Haywood, after an entire year of studying Mustafa's case, he allowed him to simply withdraw, therefore delaying Mustafa's trial once again for a whole entire year. You want to tell me that the guy screaming, don't delay my trial, I want to do whatever it takes to work with this lawyer. You want to tell me that's the guy delaying the trial?
Okay, I think it's relevant.
I call bullshit.
I think it's relevant to read what Mustafa is telling Judge Carol Weimer in court. We have the transcript. Let's hear from Mustafa and what he's telling Judge Carol Weimer on the record. Okay. This is...
What is this from?
November 6th, 2025.
Okay.
Mustafa tells Judge Carol Weimer, I don't wish to ask the court that I oppose that he withdraws from my case because I do not need him as my attorney. I do need him as my attorney. And Mustafa says, I don't want him to withdraw and I need Brad Haywood as my attorney. And it seems that he did not like the fact that I was asking questions about the finding of the result of the inspectors checking my vehicle, which the prosecutor blocked.
Till this day.
I mean, this is when? This is
November 2025.
November 6, 2025.
2 years into the case.
So Mustafa says he didn't like.
Actually, I take that back. Almost 3 years into the case.
3 years. I was asking questions about finding of the results of the inspectors checking my vehicle, checking the digital devices, Mustafa's cell phone dump, as you ordered by the end of September. Judge Weimer ordered by the end of September that this is the second time that Judge Weimer orders the vehicle to be inspected. The prosecutor blocked this inspection originally. And I was not informed of the outcome. So he did not like the fact that I was asking questions and I'm getting involved in my case. So I have the right to ask questions to my attorney. And then he said that while we were on the phone call conversation, I'm telling my lawyer, like, I have questions. What were the results of the inspector inspecting the vehicle, inspecting the digital devices as you ordered by the end of September? And he said, dude, just fuck off. The attorney is telling Mustafa. Mustafa's asking for his evidence, and the attorney tells him, fuck off. And disconnected the phone call. So I was very appalled. By the way, the attorney confirmed he admitted to it. So I was very appalled at the fact that, you know, my attorney is telling me to just fuck off and hanging up on me. So that's very troubling. And for me to be involved in my case, and I'm telling him that I have a right to my discovery for reasonable material where I can at least find out what's going on with my case. And he said, you have no right to discovery. All you have is a say in saying if you're guilty or not guilty. That's about it. And I don't think that's appropriate. And I don't think that's right. I don't have a problem with Mr. Haywood, but I do have an issue with him not answering my question or telling me I am not allowed to ask questions that pertain to my case. I would like to know something that's reasonable and understanding that I have the right to know what is going on and what's the status. I'm sitting in total solitary. I'm sitting in total solitary confinement, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the hole. And I would like to know what's going on with my case. And I would like to have the court compel my attorney to at least share that information with me. I don't want something that he cannot do. I want something that is reasonable so we have a good relationship. But for him to tell me to just fuck off and disconnect the phone call, I think somewhere in the Bar Association, the state bar, they have some sort of ethical rule to say that my attorney is not allowed to speak to me like that. That's inappropriate, and I just want to bring that to your attention. I don't have a problem with him. I don't wish for him to withdraw for my case because we're getting close to trial, and I don't want my trial to be extended further than what it is right now. So if we can stay on track and for me to be involved in my case, that would be reasonable. I would like to have my attorney sit down with me. Until this day, he has not shared any material with discovery with me. I'm sitting here like in the dark. I have the right to know what's going on with my case, what I'm being accused. What I'm being accused of. I want to know like details about my case, and I'm asking him questions. And the questions that I asked him was, what are the results of the audio of the dash camera? What are the results of the accident reconstructionist that you ordered? You ordered by the end of September that an expert would go in and inspect the vehicle by the end of September. And he's talking about the judge. The judge put it out an order. This was your order to inspect the SD from the dash camera. And I'm asking Mr. Haywood, what are the results? I would like to know for my own, so that I can prepare a defense for my case. I'm the one who is being accused. I'm the client. And if my attorney is telling me, dude, just fuck off, and you have no right to discovery, you have no right to be involved in your case, then there is a violation of my constitutional right. And I would like to assert that I have the right to know what is going on in my case. I mean, this is really disturbing. This is beyond disturbing. So you have a attorney that's telling his client to fuck off. You have a defendant, a Mustafa, that's telling the judge, I don't care if he told me go fuck myself. Okay? All I'm asking him to do, I don't want him to withdraw from my case. All I'm asking him to do is, can I look at the material in my case? I mean, he's telling Judge Weimer, you ordered for the second time that the vehicle get inspected. The county gave money for my lawyer to hire an independent expert. You gave the order for the second time on body cam. The prosecutor blocked the original reconstruction. This is a body cam where she blocked the independent expert from inspecting the vehicle. inspecting Mustafa's vehicle, inspecting the SUV involved in this accident. There's a judge order where she blocked. This is July 18, 2023, where 3 years later, the judge is giving another order, a second order, to inspect the vehicle.
Which one is it?
What's that?
Which one is
It's in a box. Per my conversation with Sarah, so this is the first time I've ever done this in 18 years. She said we can pull it out for you.
Yeah.
You can look at it. She doesn't want anybody touching it.
Okay.
Like touching it, I mean, can I?
Like if you want to take pictures and all that, but if anything needs to be.
He's blocking the independent expert from inspecting the vehicle. There's a judge order, and then they go on and block him from the other vehicle.
And by the way, he used to be a state police officer. He was with the Virginia State Police. And he told Brad Haywood that in his entire career, he's never seen a case where you're not allowed to inspect the evidence the way they did in Mustafa's case. That he's never seen that before, where they tell him you're not allowed to touch a car. Like, it's just never happened before.
I think you sent me the transcript, right?
I think so.
I think this is the transcript.
Let me see.
Is it which page? Do you know which page the conversation is on? I would love to pull the conversation where Brad Haywood is telling the presiding judge. I mean, while you do that, let me pull up the transcript where Sarah Sammy is telling the presiding judge, Judge Carol Weimer, that she allowed the independent expert to inspect the vehicle. This is Sarah Sammy, where she says, I set up a time, my understanding. So in the lower court, when Mr. Stevens was counsel of record for Mr. Al-Jazari, I set up a time with the police department to allow Mr. Stevens and the expert that had been hired by him to come and inspect each of the vehicle at the impound lot. We have body cams. We just watched a body cam. There's a sequence on body cam where they're blocking the independent expert from inspecting the vehicle. And you have Mustafa, 3 years later, standing in court and is telling the presiding judge that clearly this prosecutor lied to, and this judge issues another order to inspect the vehicle, and Mustafa is standing in front of this judge and is telling him, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is what you ordered for the second time.
Oh, it's this one with the red.
With the red? Okay.
You have it?
I'm sure I do. You want to send me that one? Mustafa is standing in court and is telling him, Your Honor, they're not inspecting my vehicle. They're not inspecting my dash camera. They're not sharing any evidence with me. I'm in solitary confinement. I don't want my lawyer to withdraw from this case. I mean...
That's everything.
Okay.
You can start with the yellow.
All right. And this is what Brad is telling the presiding judge about what the prosecutor is doing in this case. And the question here is...
Again, this is going back to who is delaying this trial? What is the ultimate reason for the trial delay? It's not Mustafa, because clearly, this is November of 2025, just a few months ago.
I mean...
Just a few months ago.
The frustration here is that this case is sealed. The prosecutor is not releasing exculpatory evidence to the defense. Mustafa in solitary is looking at his defense attorney. Where is the evidence? Did you inspect this? Did you look at the evidence? And his defense attorney on the outside, he tells us, I've been threatened off this case.
And I mean, you can read what he says.
Let's read what
the prosecutor is the one delaying all this information.
Brad Haywood tells the presiding judge, you also have, for example, the Commonwealth. He asserted that the body cam policy in Prince William County, in effect at the time, allowed police officers to mute their cameras or turn them off in the way that they did this case. And it doesn't. At that time, there was mandatory recording, and then there was a list of exceptions just like there are now. And none of those exceptions applied in this case.
And what is he talking? He's talking about why are the body cams missing portions? It's really not the policy that they could just turn off and turn on. But these body cams are actually cut by someone at the police department. Okay? They're being tailored to fit a specific narrative. And Brad Haywood is saying it's the Prince William County Police policy to have your body cam on at all times when you're investigating.
Now,
and that's not what they're doing here.
It's the job of the prosecutor to look at these body cam, look at the inconsistencies.
And ask the question, where is the rest of this? Where is the rest of this body cam? But she's not doing that here. She's actively protecting cops that are trimming body cam to show a specific narrative. Anything that's outside the narrative, they just chop it up and remove it.
And by the way, you can easily prove that that's not happening by releasing the communication of the prosecutor with the officer when the defense asked for them.
Exactly.
Instead, she's terrified, and she tells the judge it's dangerous to release my communication. Why is it dangerous unless you're in communication with those officers?
Unless you are instructing the officers on what to cut, what to remove, then in that case, of course, it's dangerous.
By the way,
it's going to show you're in cahoots with the police that are deleting these body cams and removing them.
I mean, body cams show those officers that falsified this case are updating prosecutor Sarah Sammy every step of the way. They on body cam. They're like, we call Sarah Sammy, we let her know. She told us. We let her know. Yeah. Every step of the way.
Every step of the way. You should go on, continue that, Red.
So you already have, and you can go down the list. I mean, there are other ways. Investigator Drum wouldn't let our crash scene investigator touch the vehicle. When I spoke with Mr. Keene, the independent expert, the person who was doing the investigation for the defense attorney at the time, he described that as bizarre, and he's never encountered that before. Now, this is what Brad Haywood is telling the presiding judge, Your Honor, this prosecutor, this investigator is blocking your judge order.
That's the continuance of it.
Is blocking a judge order. And that's why we're here. This trial is not moving forward because that prosecutor, that police officer blocked the inspection of the vehicle. And the prosecutor wants to turn around and say it's Mustafa's fault.
I'll just read off. He says, when I spoke with Mr. Keene, the person who was doing that investigation for the defense attorney at the time, he described that as bizarre, and he's never encountered that before, where an investigator would not let an independent investigation take place. So you have somebody who I think is, and then the judge cuts him off. He said, but that's been resolved, hasn't it? And Brad Haywood says, well, that part has, and that we can send somebody else back. So think about it. October 2025, merely almost 3 years into the case, now the lawyer is going to send somebody out. The judge is saying, has that been resolved? Well, now we can send somebody out. So in that case, prosecutor, you've delayed this man's investigation of the evidence. So who's delaying this? You want him to go to trial 2 years ago without investigating, without looking at the evidence? So either you go to trial without the evidence, or we're going to keep you in jail for a really, really long time. And every time there's a continuance, because we're blocking the evidence, we're going to say you're delaying the trial. I mean, according to this alone, this October 3rd, 2025 transcript, it shows that the prosecutor, up until now, you have blocked the investigation. You've blocked this defendant from inspecting his own evidence.
So we just looked at the evidence. And the evidence showed clearly that the prosecutor is blocking exculpatory evidence from having this case move forward. Let's read, according to the law, Commonwealth versus Davis, that's quoted in the prosecutor motion.
I mean, if you read the rest of it, of that page, it's just disturbing.
You want me to read it?
You can read it. I mean, that's what Brad Haywood is saying about these investigators with Prince William County and what length they're willing to go.
Let's read them.
Just to get this man.
Mr. Haywood, Brad Haywood, okay, still in Judge Weimer. What I think is evidence of is that you have two investigators who really, from the jump start, had laser focus to the exclusion of anybody else, laser focus on my client. And it seems that they want him to be convicted so badly that they are willing a lot of time to not necessarily turn everything over. So if there were bench notes, if there were other recording, if there were other memorandum that simply weren't given to the Commonwealth attorney, that should be given. And I think that probably should be made clear to the police. Maybe the Commonwealth satisfies the obligation simply by emailing or calling the investigators and say, I just want to make sure you guys haven't held anything back, whether it's your detective notes, whether it's photograph, whether it's recording and unedited recording. Maybe that suffices. But this is a concern that we've had for reviewing the discovery. This is not
okay. So basically, the lawyer is saying this is October 3rd of 2025, just a few months ago, and the lawyer is saying, I'm looking at this discovery, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because there's major portions missing. Where is the rest of the discovery? Okay, now the prosecutor is going to try to blame the police. The police is trying to say we turned everything over. Why don't we settle this once and for all? Let's release the prosecutor's communication and see if this prosecutor is in fact lying to these defense attorneys.
By law, Brady versus Maryland, you have, once you realize there's a bias, there's falsifications in this case, you have to release the prosecutor by law.
Clearly, there's evidence that's been held back. I mean, according to Brad Haywood, he's saying this discovery does not make sense. It's missing major portions.
Okay, so
where is it?
When you read the prosecutor motion, who in her motion, she relies on Commonwealth versus Davis. Commonwealth versus Davis is a very clear case law that states you can't hold someone in jail indefinitely waiting for his trial. And if he's held in jail waiting for his trial, he's entitled to a bond.
He's entitled to a bond.
Unless it's his fault.
Yeah.
But if it's the prosecution fault, then you have to give him a bond until you decide to take him to trial. You can't just have him sit in solitary confinement.
I mean, look,
going over 4 years.
Look, what did she say the other day when Judge Weimer said we can have a trial in June? She says, I'm not ready.
She said, I'm not ready.
Okay, hold on. Let's back up a little bit. Let's go back to October of last year when Mustafa was trying to have a bond. She said, Your Honor, it's the holiday season. Everybody's out for the holidays. So back in October, everybody's getting ready for the holiday. Now we're in February, and you want to say what? Everybody's getting ready for vacation? And by the time vacation time is over, it's time for the holidays again. I mean, like, what is this, a joke? This is a courthouse? Or, like, what are we doing? Are we going to work around everybody's vacation and holiday season? Like, when are we going to find the right time to have a trial if, according to the prosecutor, everybody's either vacationing or getting ready for the holidays? Which one is it? You don't have trials in June? You don't have trials at all?
Look,
you don't have trials in December?
The truth of the matter is this prosecutor evidence showed that she's blocking this case from moving forward by blocking exculpatory evidence and blocking evidence to come into the case.
And look, she's going to try to delay it for another year. And then she's going to, they're going to block the independent experts from examining the car. I mean, Mustafa's case was assigned a lawyer in January of 2025. Why was the lawyer not given the opportunity to inspect the car from the beginning, inspect the SD card, go through the phone data dump? Why are they given that on the very last minute, a month before trial?
Specifically when Judge Weimer,
gave the order
Judge Weimer
3 years ago.
I mean, not only did he give it 3 years ago, 2 years ago, he gave it again, and he said by the end of September of last year.
September of 2025.
I mean, this is Judge Weimer. Let's see.
He gave the order. He said, I want this done before the end of September. We're in February of the following year, and it's still not done. I mean, whose fault is that? I mean, you want to tell me that it's the guy's fault that's screaming, where's my evidence? It's the guy that says, I haven't been shown anything from my discovery. I've been told to fuck off every time I ask a question.
You want to
tell me that? You want to say that's the guy's fault?
You want to blame him. This is Judge Weimer, September 16, on a transcript, on the record. He says it should include, right after he gave the order to inspect Mustafa's vehicle, inspect the dash camera, by an independent expert. He said it should include in the order that this extraction and inspection by the defense is to be facilitated and occurred before the end of September, unless that turns out to be a problem with your expert. By the end of September, you're talking about 3 years into
So
it.
funds were given. The expert was there. The judge's order was there. Yet it never happened.
What's the
I
delay?
wonder why.
Look, the matter of the bottom line is, once they inspect the vehicle, they're going to find out that the police department crushed and staged the vehicle
without justification,
and that there is brake failure.
They're not
and
justified in
that they've
doing it.
removed the original Faro scan on the scene. I mean, you're talking about a police department that's falsifying a whole entire case. You're talking about crushing and staging the vehicle.
Okay, so
all right. So I want to go back to what the prosecutor is talking about in Section C, unless you want to add something really quick. I'm gonna. You won't.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I was gonna.
So
read this, but go ahead.
the prosecutor is talking about Section C in her motion. All right. Section C says delay caused by the defendant does not justify reconsideration. So she said it's Mustafa's fault. So let's read what the prosecutor is talking about. This is page 5 in the motion to reconsider, deny the bond reconsideration. So Section C says delay caused by the defendant does not justify reconsideration. The defendant further suggests that newly appointed counsel and the need for additional continuance should weigh in favor of the reconsideration. This argument fell as a matter of law and fact. Any delay in bringing this case to trial is attributed solely to the defendant. Since the inception of these proceedings, the defendant has been represented by more than 10 appointed or retained attorneys. Each has ultimately withdrawn, citing reasons that include breakdown in trust and communication. Often, the defendant requests to withdraw have necessitated repeated continuance to allow newly appointed counsel to prepare. These continuance are not attributed to the Commonwealth Attorney. Under Davis, delays caused by the defendant cannot serve as basis to justify bail. To hold otherwise would reward the defendant for conduct that has directly prolonged the defendant proceeding. I mean, really listen to what she says here. Each has ultimately withdrawn, citing the reason that include breakdown in trust and communication. Why is that? I wonder why, when you're sealing off the case, when you're not releasing exculpatory evidence, when you're blocking the inspection of the evidence, the vehicle and the dash camera, obviously the lawyer is just...
He can't answer his client.
He can't answer his client. He can't answer his client, and his trial is being delayed. Mustafa, sitting in solitary, is telling his lawyer, where is my evidence? I mean, and you want to talk about breakdown in communication, where obviously you're blocking the evidence.
Look, you remember Blake was going to go into trial, and he gave Mustafa the option. Either I take you to trial with everything that we have today,
which is nothing,
okay, or we delay your trial again because we haven't inspected the car. And Judge Weimer did not give me the authority to get the previous report from Casey Stevens. I mean, you have that on the record.
By the way,
where Blake Weiner is asking for the report from the previous counsel, and Judge Weimer denies him that.
So let's shift gear. We talked about Brad Haywood. Okay, we talked about Brad Haywood. We're going to talk about Blake Weiner. I mean, Blake Weiner gave Mustafa the option, either I take you into trial without the evidence.
With nothing.
They're not giving me anything. Okay?
What does that sound like?
That's not an option.
That is not an option.
Mustafa's like, what do you mean? Where's my evidence?
Where's my evidence?
You haven't inspected the car. You haven't inspected the dash camera. You haven't entered my Google Nest videos into the record. What are we going trial for? I'm going to go in without my evidence? I mean, and who's blocking this evidence? The prosecutor. So this is, by the way, let's read the transcript directly from what Blake is telling the court.
And this is when Blake was withdrawing from the case, right?
Yeah. All right. So in this transcript, so this is
what date is that?
Actually, this is September 20th, 2024. Blake is asking Judge Weimer for the release of the independent expert report. The independent expert that was blocked. I mean, the independent expert was blocked. The body cam shows that it's independent expert. Stephen Keen. He's asking for the independent expert.
The guy that says it's so bizarre, he's never seen this happen before, where investigators block him from inspecting evidence.
Stephen Keen inspected the vehicle on July 18, 2023. Now, take that date, write that date down.
Okay.
July 18, 2023. I mean, listen to when Blake is asking for the report. We're in September 20th, 2024.
Wow, over a year later.
2 months later, you're supposed to go into trial.
But this is over a year after Stephen Keen inspected the car. Over a year.
And the attorney still has not had the report.
Casey Stevens.
By
the way, I'll tell you, Casey Stevens or his partner was always in court. Every time a new lawyer was appointed to Mustafa, you have Casey Stevens' partner write down the name. At one point, she went up to the prosecutor and said, "Who's the appointed lawyer?" And she's writing it down. Why would Casey Stevens be so invested into which lawyer Mustafa is being appointed? Why would they be so invested in that?
I mean, are we talking about the same attorney that's friends with the investigator that falsified this case?
Okay. And we're talking about every lawyer that has come onto this case has been threatened. Who's sending the threats?
I mean, the disturbing part is wait until you read this transcript and what Judge Weimer is telling Blake, is the defense attorney, and how the judge is blocking the report from getting to this attorney. I mean, now you're talking about, Judge Weimer is pretending that he's impartial. Read this transcript. Why is Judge Weimer blocking the report from the vehicle inspection where the trial is going to happen in 2 months? Blake Weiner, on September 2024, is telling Judge Weimer, after requests having been made to Mr. Stephen, the previous attorney, I am denying. Oh, Judge Weimer is telling Blake Weiner, after requests have been made to Mr. Stevens, I am denying the order at this point. I think there are other ways to do that. If Mr. Stevens were to endorse the order, I would certainly enter it, but otherwise I'm denying the order. I mean, they're going in circles.
So Casey Stevens has the report that you paid for.
That I paid $5,000 for.
Casey Stevens is holding on to it. He's not giving it up. A year later, Blake Weiner is representing Mustafa. He wants that report that you paid for. And the judge is telling him, I remember I was in court. He said, go sue him for it. I mean, you want to tell me trial is in 2 months. You, judge, can order the previous counsel to release Mustafa's file to the new attorney. You can order him that. Okay? I think he's obligated under the state bar to release whatever case file information he has to the new attorney. You're obligated to do that. But Casey Stevens didn't want to do it. Okay? And the judge is telling Blake Weiner to go sue for it. I mean, you want to file a civil lawsuit, and what? You're going to wait until your lawsuit goes through to get the report, and then what? You're going to delay trial?
The trial is in 2 months. You're talking about, you want to say that.
And by the way, who's going to pay this? This is a paid attorney, by the way. You want Mustafa to pay for Blake Weiner suing Casey Stevens for a report that he already paid for?
And they want to blame Mustafa for the breakdown in communication with his attorney. His attorney goes up to Mustafa and tell him, look, they're not giving me the evidence.
They're not giving me the evidence.
Your trial is in 2 months.
What do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do? Okay? Mustafa tells him, I'm not going to trial without my evidence. Who's blocking the evidence? The prosecutor. And now, according to the transcript, the judge. Judge Weimer gives out another order 3 years into it.
3 years into it. Why did you not give that order at the time to say, Blake, go get it from Casey Stevens? Or Casey Stevens, I'm compelling you to release that report.
The part that's more disturbing is Brad Haywood, the defense attorney after Blake Weiner, who comes into the case, tells Judge Weimer, Your Honor, this prosecutor is blocking the inspection
Well, just
in his
remember,
own body cam.
not to cut you off, but Brad Haywood didn't come after Blake. Remember, it was Mark Williams and
exactly,
and Clark
exactly
that came in. But apparently, they were threatened. They were told a lot of misinformation about Mustafa and his family. Or I mean, they told us that someone called them and told. Well, I think Elaine Jarvis said she called them.
I mean,
but whatever the case is, she wants to count Mark Williams as an attorney. She wants to count Jim Bondiker, who was on the case for like 2 months and didn't do anything, really. Didn't even file for discovery. She wants to count Tasso Sanders as an attorney, even though he came onto the case, never requested discovery, never visited Mustafa. She wants to count that as an attorney on file. And she wants to count Farhina, who came onto the case, within days was threatened and said, here's your money back. I can't take this case. I was threatened.
Look, the bottom line
that's
is,
what she's counting as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lawyers.
Clearly, there's a strategy that the prosecution office is implementing into this case, in cahoots with the officers that are involved.
It's very obvious.
They're threatening the defense attorney, and
if you can't threaten them away, then you block the evidence to the point where the lawyer is frustrated. He goes to his client and tells him, "Look, man, I'm trying my best. Like, trial is coming up. I'm not getting the evidence that I'm requesting. I'm not getting it." Okay? And then they cite a breakdown in communication. I mean, even though you just read a whole entire 2 pages of Mustafa attempting to convince the judge not to allow this lawyer to withdraw. He's been on my case for a whole year. I don't want him to withdraw. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to work with him. You, judge, can compel him to answer some of my questions. I have a right to know. And the judge says, what does he say? Brad Haywood, you can withdraw off the case. Matter of fact, let me practice law from the bench and answer the question for you and give you the answer that you need so you can withdraw. This is BS. I mean,
so we just covered Brad Haywood.
I mean, now you have a judge that is obstructing justice. A judge who's actively practicing law. He's a prosecutor behind the bench. That's what he is.
We covered Brad Haywood. We covered Blake Weiner. I mean, the prosecutor is telling you that you have Brad Haywood withdrew off the case. Blake Weiner withdrew off the case. Okay. Jarvis, we're going to go into Jarvis. Okay. And the bottom line is you find out that the prosecutor is the one that's blocking the evidence, blocking this case from moving forward. I mean, essentially, the prosecutor wants to talk about Jarvis, Mustafa's attorney, Elaine Jarvis. Well, why did Elaine Jarvis leave Mustafa? When you find out what was Elaine Jarvis doing, that the prosecutor maliciously prosecuted her. They went after her license. They made her...
they made an example out of her. If I'm quoting Judge Weimer correctly, he made an example out of her.
The presiding judge.
The presiding
supposed to
judge.
be impartial, maliciously prosecuted Mustafa's attorney. And wants to turn around and say it's Mustafa's fault. How?
And then he wants to ask, why are these lawyers running away? Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe because you're prosecuting them?
I mean, the question is, what was Elaine Jarvis doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case that they maliciously went after her?
What was she doing?
Well, let's find out.
You have an idea?
I mean, we have Elaine Jarvis on video, on her podcast, with a private investigator poking into the prosecutor's witness. The prosecutor who's supposed to, by law, look into the background and validate and find out if this witness is credible.
She's supposed to poke her own witnesses.
By law.
But Jarvis was poking that witness. And Sarah Sammy's like, I'm not going to have it. So she teamed up.
You're supposed to do a background on a witness?
She teamed up with Judge Weimer. She teamed up with the police to intimidate and corner Elaine Jarvis into submission.
I mean, take a look at what Elaine Jarvis was doing. She has a private investigator. I mean, look, she has a private investigator. I mean, absolutely. I mean,
it's really not funny.
Jarvis found out. Jarvis found out that this prosecutor is using a fake witness. This fake witness apparently is fucking the other witness who just happened to be a minor.
He's a child molester.
Really let that sink in. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy and Prosecutor Stephanie Buck has a witness that's fucking the other witness who happens to be a minor, a child molester.
How disgusting.
And this lawyer, Elaine Jarvis, poked into it. She brought in a private investigator. She had a platform, and she put this private investigator on her platform, on her podcast, and she said, what evidence do you have that Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is using a child molester, a fake witness, and apparently this private investigator has recordings? I mean, why do you think Prosecutor Sarah Sammy went after Jarvis? And now she wants to blame Mustafa for Jarvis running away. If I'm checking correctly, according to the transcript, you went after Mustafa's lawyer. The reason Mustafa doesn't have this Pokemon is because this Pokemon ran away from you.
Mm-hmm.
This lawyer ran away from you.
Because Elaine Jarvis uncovered that one of the key witnesses in the Mustafa case that is being used by Amy Ashworth, and by the way, I would say protected by Amy Ashworth, because he had serious charges pending that miraculously disappeared, like brandishing a weapon, possession of Scheduled 1 and 2 narcotics or drugs, and then intent to distribute. These three, by the way, and I think brandishing a weapon while under the influence. So 4 major charges that all of a sudden just disappeared. Okay? All of a sudden just disappeared. And Elaine Jarvis uncovered that this person that is being protected by the Commonwealth attorney is a child molester. A person that admits, as you're going to hear, to a private investigator that he was drugging a minor and he was sleeping with her. And that minor was the daughter of his then ex-girlfriend.
Let's listen to Elaine Jarvis.
And it's on recording.
Mustafa's previous defense attorney. It's on recording. There is, this is based on evidence.
I'm really shocked. I'm really shocked that the police department is okay with a pedophile as long as he's going to testify for them. It's okay to be out there as a child predator or as a pedophile, as a.
I mean, when you look at what's going on a local level. And what you find on the national level with the Epstein files, they're willing to protect pedophiles as long as they're doing their bidding. Exactly. What is going on with Commonwealth Amy Ashworth and Prosecutor Sarah Sammy and Prosecutor Stephanie Buck? They literally have a child molester. By the way, this is based on evidence that he's a child molester fucking the other witness that happens to be a minor. I mean, and they're both fake witnesses, by the way. When you listen to the body cams, they're both fake witnesses. They tell you, we're creating a story. We've never been there. I mean, this is based on the body cams.
You know, I'll say before
they're willing to protect a child molester as long as they move forward with a case.
Okay, and I'll say, if they're okay with a child molester, a predator, to be out on the loose without charges, free to do whatever he wants, I wonder how many other predators they're protecting. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? How many people...
That's terrifying.
How many people connected to that city nightclub?
Crystal City.
The Crystal City nightclub. How many people are connected to that nightclub that are also fucking minors, and the Commonwealth attorney turns a blind eye because they either carry a badge or they're in connection with someone that carries a badge?
Let's listen to what Jarvis was poking into before the prosecutor maliciously went after her and had Judge Weimer remove her license and deemed her crazy.
By the way, I'll say, wasn't one of the minors working at this strip club while she was a minor?
Kylie Clapp is working at that strip club
while she was a minor.
While she's a, when you look at the club, strip club out of Crystal City has a reputation where they hire minors, where they sell drugs. Kylie Clapp is only 16 years old. I mean, when you look at her Instagram, what's a 16-year-old buying a Gucci bag every other week? A 16-year-old. Now, we have evidence that this 16-year-old works at that club. Her dad works at that club. They're connected to a club owner that has a major problem with Mustafa.
And I think it makes sense why William Bain Jr. just recently sold that club, and he says he's done with this.
Judge Carol Weimer, I have good news for you. If they've got dirt on you, sir, they just closed the club. So I don't know what this prosecutor has on you, but apparently it's linked up back into a strip club, a prostitute, a stripper. We don't know yet, but we are finding out that you have something to do with that club, and they have something on you.
Okay, let's get into.
Let's listen to what Jarvis was poking into before they went after her, and they want to blame Mustafa for his lawyer running away.
Okay, so just real quick, so you're outside the casino and you're talking to him. At this point, are you taping this?
Oh, I recorded everything from when we first met. So if you listen to the recording, you can listen to hours of us gambling and not talking about anything.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Okay, so coming to the punch. What did he tell you in this recording?
He told me that her daughter asked him to kill Mustafa.
Wow.
I mean, it's not funny, but
It's not funny. I said, why would she? First of all, I can't think of anybody that I would ask to kill somebody.
No.
It makes me question his relationship with the daughter in some sort of way.
Yeah, in other words, how close were they?
Exactly, and
how close were they?
So at this point,
well, we're coming on a commercial break. What we're gonna do when we come back, we're gonna go into what Elaine Jarvis uncovered with her private investigator, what she released on her platform, and essentially why the prosecutor went after her. Did Elaine Jarvis find that the prosecutor is using a pedophile who's fucking a minor, which is another individuals that the prosecution is using? Were they in cahoots and were they planning the murder of Mustafa? I mean, essentially what we're finding in this case is that Mustafa's vehicle had brake failure. Where is the police department from investigating the brake failure? Why did Mustafa have brake failure? Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time, trying to stop his vehicle. The police mechanic inspected the vehicle and found Mustafa's vehicle would not stop. There's brake failure. Now, what we're finding out, evidence show that the ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford, on a recorded line, is admitting to a private investigator that the 16-year-old daughter came up to him and asked him to murder Mustafa. And can we make it look like an accident? And apparently those two were having an inappropriate... He was fucking the 16-year-old. Now, these individuals are linked back into a club, a strip club owner that has a major problem with Mustafa. Now, did that club and those individuals have anything to do with Mustafa brake failure? Where's the police department? The police department has an obligation to investigate. Instead, the police department and the prosecution officer are using those people as witnesses in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. The police department, and we have the body cams, are bringing these people in, allowing them to create a story about Mustafa, and these people are so incompetent that on body cam, they tell you, we were not there. Now, those people are not witnesses. Why is the police department allowing them to create a story about Mustafa? The more you look into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, the more disturbing it gets. You have officers that falsified the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, officers that allowed fake witnesses to come in, officers that are talking about pumping money into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. The details that are coming out of this case show that this is a car accident. Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. When we come back, we're going to continue to look into Jarvis and what Jarvis uncovered. And it's going to take us into the individuals that are used as witnesses, the fake witnesses. And we're going to continue reading the motion of Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, Prosecutor Stephanie Buck, the motion to deny the bond reconsideration.
copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay. If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it.